Today I have Thomas with me. Thomas is known as Target Prime Rib on the carnivore community. Thomas, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Brian. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate
All
it.
right, great, great. So, Thomas, first of all, how long have you been doing carnivore?
Um, well, I count myself fully carnivore when I started the communities, when I started to not only do my channel, but when I started to interact with other people's channels and stuff. So I started that. It's going to be a year, January 1st. So on New
Okay,
Year's is my carniversary. So yeah,
okay,
but
all
I've been
right.
on and off
So,
for a while.
okay, so let's give everybody a background. What kind of led you to going to the carnivore diet, and then as you started with carnivore, how did that go? Like, what experience did you have? Did you start with maybe some healing or losing weight, that kind of thing? So give us a background with that.
Well, yeah, I'll give you what I was going through, and then, I have been doing some healing, obviously. I started off, I'm diabetic. I was diabetic since I've been 30. I'm 53 now, so 23 years I'm diabetic. And I started off eating the foods that they recommended. They would say to me like, "Oh, be low carb," but they never knew what doing that meant. Like they'd be like, "Still have rice." When I was at the hospital, they still give me pancakes, all that fun stuff. They still give me like pasta, but yet they're telling me to be low carb. It's like, well, do you even know what a carb is? And and one time, one lady actually, I asked her if I could have butter instead of margarine, and she said no because that's a carb. So I guess maybe they don't know what a carb is, But unfortunately, the things that have happened to me since I became diabetic is as I'm not really looking at things, um, because who does really? You look at your sugars, but you really don't understand what they mean or anything like that. You really don't have, you're not really educated the way you should be. And so, in turn, I ended up losing. First, I lost my big toe. I had to get it amputated through neuropathy and through the diabetes. Then I ended up losing the other four toes on my right foot. I've had a huge portion of my, and when I say huge, it could be any amount because, and even 1% is huge, of my left heel bone removed out from the heel. And and there was a time where I got in so much pain. This is actually a kicker. I actually went to the hospital 3 times. First time they gave me pain injections. And as time went on, my back is getting like I actually had bad back pain when I got out of rehab after my last toes. Went into the hospital, and I'm going fast on this one because it's kind of long. But I went to the hospital, got the pain meds. The nurse pretty much, I told her it wasn't working. She was like, "Well, you can come back another time because we already did your discharge papers." So I'm just kind of like, "Well, what if I was having a heart attack or something like that? Would you tell me to come back tomorrow?" And she just looked at me like I had four heads, like this was like normal for her. Then I go back a second time. I tell her that I wasn't going to the bathroom for a bit. I didn't think that was it, but I just figure maybe it's a possibility. And she actually gave me a prescription for a laxative. I was there for 16 hours. She took off my bandage because I still have my foot bandage. It wasn't fully healed yet. Took off my bandage. I'm really bad. Like I need a wheelchair. So luckily I found a broken wheelchair in the hospital. I have to go to the bathroom again. Like I said, I'm going fast. I have to go to the bathroom again, right? And at least I felt like it did. I actually had to wrap my own foot in the bandage because they made me wait for like 12 to 16 hours before I even went to the bathroom. Then so I wrap my foot, get into the wheelchair, get myself to the bathroom. Unfortunately, I did not go. That's like all that work you would want to go. Then I get back about an hour after I get back, and I'm staying in the wheelchair. By this point, I'm like, I don't care if it's broken or not. I'm staying in the wheelchair. I'm hurting too much to get out of it. They actually wheeled me out of the hospital. Now, in the meantime, they're actually taking homeless people and putting them up for the night to get them some shelter because it was around September, so I guess it's getting cold and stuff like that. And they actually kicked me out of the hospital, wheeled me right out, no discharge papers or anything, just wheeled me right out of the hospital. Said, "Okay, you can go now. You're done." I'm
Wow.
like, no one even looked at me. Like for 5 seconds, she like unwrapped my foot, but no X-rays, nothing. So then I decided to call up the administration and complain. And I wasn't planning on going back there again. I was like, okay, I guess I have to just deal with it and hopefully maybe I'll get better, which I doubted I was. And so about a day before my birthday on September 19th, I ended up having to go call the ambulance and they had to bring me in on a gurney because I could not move whatsoever. If I moved, it was like maybe 5%, you know? And like what would take you like 5 minutes to get to would take me like an hour to do.
Mm,
That's how slow moving I
wow.
was. And so I got to the hospital, and I guess the doctor got wind that I made a complaint because as soon as they saw my charts, the doctor went right to, he's like, okay, we're going to have we have your CAT scan. We're going to give you an MRI. We're going to give you, like, they gave me all the tests and they did the MRI. And I'm not very good at MRIs because I don't know if you ever had an MRI or not, but if you fidget even a little bit, there's a problem. And I was in so much pain, I was fidgeting more than a little bit, obviously. So, but I was able to get through the MRI. They did the MRI. Ended up there was an infection inside my spine that was deteriorating the spine a little bit. And it caused me a slight, for 3, 4 months after that, I was pretty much paralyzed. I could not move out of bed. I could not, I needed help to get up to just eat. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without help. That's how bad I was. And I was like ready to, and meanwhile, I had a toxic roommate that was like drinking 30 cans of beer a day and she decides not to work. So she was like sort of being a squatter in my own place. So I was dealing with all these mental and physical and all these things that were just going on. And when I said I was like on and off carnivore before, it's really because of the concept that I believed a carnivore could help, but when you go into rehabs, when you go into, they don't really, it's like their idea of like diabetic diet is just not carnivore. Now luckily on the last time I was in rehab, I was able to be like, I went to the doctor and I said, I'm not doing the diabetic diet. I'm doing my own diet, so you're here to help me heal my foot after this operation. That's all you're here for. You're not here to help my diabetes because you're not going to help my diabetes. You know nothing of diabetes. And he's like, okay, that's fine, you know. And like I was getting my blood sugars down, and then we had one smart aleck doctor that actually put me back on the diabetic diet, and guess what happened? My sugars went back up again, you know. And I'm like, "Here, I proved my point." Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You say eat low carb, but you don't even know what that means, you know. So that happened to me for a while. So I mean, those are the worst things that have happened to me. I'm still diabetic. I still have an A1C at 6.2. That's my baseline. But it actually, when I first started, it was 8.9. So I've gotten that down. I went from not walking at all to being in a wheelchair or being on what's called a knee scooter, because my feet have to heal and everything, or even just a walker or a cane, to pretty much walking around the track. I walk around at least once around, and many times I use a 50-pound weight vest when I walk.
Mm,
So, and I am working again. I'm working at least 16 hours a week. And I'm just taking care of business. I mean, the right now I'm using my cane, but that's only to get out the stair down the stairs because my balance isn't that great. So, and my sister doesn't like to have railings for her staircases. Well, I don't know, but
So let me ask you really quick. You mentioned that they wanted you to be on a diabetic diet. What do they consider as the diabetic diet? Like, what type of foods were they telling you should eat?
well, to eat, I could tell you what they gave me in the hospital. I think that would
Okay.
probably be better. Um, they gave me cereal. They actually gave me sugar-free cookies. I got pasta. They did give me chicken, usually with some kind of sauce with it. Um, Very rarely would I get any bacon or any eggs. They would be okay with me having eggs, but bacon would definitely be a no-no.
Mm,
Sausage would be like have to be turkey sausage, you know. Yeah, they would give me like, the artificial sugar, like Splenda or something like that. Or they give me regular sugar if I ask for it. They never said no if I asked for it, which I never did, but or I did once to test them out, I guess. But or you know what? Actually, a lot of times they give me the sugar by mistake.
yeah.
So obviously, because it was allowed, like they'd have a thing on their chart that people that deliver the food, and they would be told, no, he can't have this, no, he can't have it, and obviously the chart does not say anything about having sugar, you know. So they'd have all this food, and they have the vegetables like green beans and carrots and corn and all that stuff. Potatoes, gobs of potatoes, some with sauce, some without sauce, ketchup, all that, all that stuff. If I wanted burgers, if I was on their diabetic diet, um, burgers probably would not have been allowed. The last time around, I was able to get burgers, because I had the choice. They clicked that off for me. Um, French fries, just ice cream,
Mm,
you know, um, Jello, Italian ice, which I have to admit the Italian ice kind of helped me when because I was so bad with the paralysis that I could hardly swallow. So I kind of like had to have stuff that was easy to swallow down. So the Italian ice, even though it had sugar in it, was probably the easiest thing for me to swallow. Um, Unfortunately, because even pudding was like too thick for me. That's like I had to let it
mm,
melt in my mouth. Um, and I even kind of like during that time, I call it the accidental, and technically, I guess I really didn't, but I called it the accidental 9-day fast because when I had the problem, I always fast whenever I feel something bad. So I actually did like a 3-4 day fast. But then when they found out what was wrong, my podiatrist wanted to see if my foot was causing the infection as well, or if at least the infection's more than just the back. So for some reason, I think he just wanted to, instead of doing the X-ray, he actually wanted to go in and look at the bone itself, like literally look at the bone. So he
mm,
actually opened it up and found out there was no problem, and so he closed it up and everything like that. But during that time, what happened was I was supposed to be like in the operating table 12 hours. So I did a dry fast because you're not supposed to have anything during that time. I don't know if you ever had like most operations because of the anesthesia, you're not supposed to eat.
yeah.
And they ended up being 24 hours late. So I ended up for 36 hours, I ended up doing a dry fast. Then I got so sick that I was just throwing up the food for like a few days. So
Mm,
ended up being like 9 days without really eating anything. So the first thing I was able to eat was like Italian ice, basically, like lemon,
mm,
and you know, no fun.
yeah. Wow. All right. So you went to carnivore. obviously it's made a big difference. It's been less than a year, and you've gone from 8.9 on your A1C down to 6.2, you said.
Mhm.
Um, what is a typical day of eating on carnivore like for you?
Well, right now I'm doing a program with one of the other doctors in Carnivore. I don't really want to get too much into that, but basically he's having me do a 2 MAD twice a day, trying to do a 6 hour window. Trying to keep it at 6 hours. Sometimes I go a little over depending on what my schedule's like and stuff like that. Um, but I try not to do any more than eight. Like try to do the 16/8 or the 18/6, and mostly the 18/6. Sometimes the 420. And basically my meal today was, I'm not really doing lion diet. I was, but because of the cost of beef now and everything, it's just easier to just
Mm,
eat the chicken and stuff like that. But I actually got two huge turkey wings. So I had that, and I also, well, first thing I had a big bowl of about a pound and a half of ground meat, and I cooked that up, and I added some butter to it, and that was my meal for today, for in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I had a couple slices of cheese with with the turkey wings, and then I didn't finish all the beef, like I had like a little bit left over, so I actually ate that. And I ate it cold, believe it or not. So,
mm,
and add some more butter to it, So, I like my butter, especially if it's salted. So,
yeah. What about drinking wise? Are you pretty much just water, or do you explore anything else? Okay. Oh, yeah.
that's what I'm doing right. My sister has like about 2 cases of this stuff, so I'm like, okay, I'm doing you a favor. So guess what? This is how you're paying me. No, I'm just joking. Uh, I would take care of the dog for free. I'm just joking with that. But even though I'm telling people that she's a mini T-Rex right now. It's like teething. But right now she's asleep, so Um, I have drinking coffee, but right now while I'm at my sister's house, she has a very complicated coffee machine. So since I can't really go to many places, I I don't actually drink any coffee right now. So I'm taking 10 days of no coffee. So far I'm about 5 days in. So, and I'm not jittering too much. So
I was
so
gonna ask, how's that going?
yeah. No, it's going actually pretty well. I'm doing, I think the Pellegrino is actually helping me get through that,
Hmm,
But
yeah.
at home though, I drink coffee because I actually live, and you're going to be like everybody else, be gasping. I actually live above a chocolate shop,
Hmm.
and which sounds pretty problematic for somebody who's trying to be carnivore, right? Um, and I occasionally, I'm not going to lie, occasionally when my sugars are really, really low, I occasionally do at this point occasionally we'll have like get like an Oreo cookie or a nonpareil, something small, but my sugars have to be like below 50, and I have to be like really shaken, like I have to be like needing something to put into my bloodstream. Never do
Hmm.
any more than that. I never say, "Hey, give me a whole cake" or anything like that, And I mean, even at my niece's birthday party, they had all this stuff, including Jello shots and all that stuff. Didn't have one lick of anything. The only thing I had that was cheat that would be considered cheating is I had one chicken nugget from Chick-fil-A that they brought in. That's all I
Hmm.
had, you know. Oh, and one sushi with like one sushi roll with the rice, but the rest of it was sashimi, you know.
Hmm.
But I didn't have any drinks, didn't have anything. So I mean, the fact I could do that and be at this party with people telling me, "Well, you should eat this. Like, why aren't you eating this? Like, how come you're doing?" You know, I think I'm starting to do pretty well. We all have our temptations and stuff. But the one thing I can give, I they were very nice to me when I was really sick, and or very civil to me when I was really sick. I should and so to be nice to them, to give them business, I go and I get the one thing they have that I can have is coffee. So I get coffee from there. So my coffee drinking is sort of like an obligation, I guess you could say. It's like sort of like, well, there's nothing else I can do to, to give you business. So, and I was talking to Adam Lacey about that the other day, and he's like, well, why don't you just go in there and give him a tip? Like, well, that might work. That way I
Mm.
don't have to drink the coffee. And I still thank them because, of course, they're going to look at it like, why are you giving us this tip for? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But, whatever
Yeah.
works. So I'll test it out for 10 days, see how I feel, see if there's any difference. My sugars are going down, but what happened was I misunderstood the doctor. I thought he was saying if my sugars are above, like below a certain amount, don't take any insulin. So I was not taking any insulin whatsoever. Ended up, he still wanted me to take the long acting insulin at night. So I had stopped taking insulin so it brought my sugars about over 200, and raised my sugars. But now they're starting to go down. Like right now, they're at 121. So it's not where I want it to be, but it's better than 200. You know,
Yeah.
so it's a battle. But I went from taking Victoza um, at zero point 0.6. As you know, in the beginning it was 1.2 to not having Victoza at all. I actually did for a short while. I was recommended to do Manjaro by another carnivore doctor, and I did that because of my diabetes, not because of my weight loss. I don't I
Right.
don't believe in taking Manjaro for weight loss. I mean, I know people are scared and they're doing whatever they can, but I think you should try everything else first. Try carnivore before you try to take Manjaro. If Manjaro is recommended or doesn't is if carnivore is not working for you, then look into Manjaro. You know, I mean, I would actually recommend Manjaro before cutting a knife into your stomach and putting lamp in or anything like that. Because once you do
Yeah.
that, then it's really hard to go back. There's a lot of carnivores that will tell you how hard that is. So I was taking Manjaro for a little bit, but what happened was I used to have gastroparesis as well, and I was recommended omeprazole for about 6 years. Supposed to be 6 weeks, but the doctors never took me off it. So for 6 years,
Mm.
I was taking omeprazole, and finally, with carnivore, I was able to wean myself off of omeprazole. I actually got and then I went to apple cider vinegar, and then I went to nothing, and I got my gastroparesis under control. Okay. Um, but then when I went to Manjaro, my gastroparesis actually came back, and I started throwing up again. I started having a hard time eating, started having really bad stomach issues. And when I looked it up, a friend of mine actually said to look it up, and it ended up that one of the main things that if can affect you is your stomach on Manjaro. It's like one of the first side effects. It's like number one, believe it or not. So I obviously stopped. Luckily, I stopped before I went to a higher dosage. I was only at 2.5, you know, and I was on it for about 5 weeks. So I did that, and but I also used to be on long-term insulin. I took about 40 units. Now I'm at about 10 of the long-term insulin of the Lantus, and I also take Ninjaro. No, Novolog. I'm sorry, Novolog. I take Novolog, short-term insulin. I used to take that. That used to be about 14 units. Then it went down to 8, and now I'm not even taking it at all.
Mm. Good.
So I do not take the omeprazole anymore. Like I said, I don't. I mean, my heart rate, my blood pressure can go back and forth, but it's not enough to really have to take blood pressure medicine. I used to take aspirin. Don't do that anymore. Take baby aspirin. Um, yeah, I mean, I do sometimes take pain pills because right now I am going through bad back pain, but I think that might either have to do with the weather or sleeping in different person's bed, like might be
Yeah.
causing, just you know, like once I get back home and everything like that, I'm sure I'll be able to get back to normal. I still have pain. I'm not gonna lie. I still have pain when I walk. I still have, but the fact I can, like the other day, I actually was able to push myself and I walked about 10,380 steps,
Hmm.
which is a lot for me. It's like a mega lot, and the fact I can work now, I can work a 6 hour shift without even stopping. Um, and I might slow down, but I won't stop.
Yeah.
So a lot of differences, a lot of improvement. I went from a 44 waist to a 40-inch waist, and actually, I think I'm even past that. I just don't think I'm at a 38 yet to wear 38 pants. So since there's no such thing as a 39, I guess I'll just have to tighten my belt. Um, and I went from an extra large shirt to I went from a 2X shirt to an extra large shirt. And here, sorry, I'm like sitting down somewhere, and this is how loose the extra large shirt is. So it's getting there. So,
Yeah.
and by the way, this is my shirt. I made it myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Um, so let me ask you this. In the carnivore community, you're known as Target Prime Rib, right? Yeah, Prime Rib. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what where did you get that idea from of using that name? Like, is that your favorite
Two
food
things.
or
Well,
okay?
yeah, I do love playing whip. Don't get me wrong. No, it's actually two-parter. The first part is when I was a kid, around high school age, I actually wrote a science fiction book that I had started. I went to about 9 chapters or so, and some of my family, I was very like easily. I didn't have very much confidence in myself. Let's put it that way. And a couple people that I was very close to, that I still am very close to, actually like when I showed pictures. Oh, because I actually have mutant characters and stuff like that. And like I said, it's a science fiction book. And I
Mhm.
created characters. I draw as well. I create like draw different things. Someday I'll let you see what my drawings are. You can look at one of my videos and see them that way. And the name of the book was Target Prime. So someday I do plan on. I actually just the other day downloaded my pages to like one of those memory sticks that yeah, to this guy here. I'm sorry about that.
Mhm.
To one of those guys. And I'm going to see if I can get ChatGPT to help me like put it together better and start back up on the book again and get some of my drawings in there and stuff like that and really start out something. But I've been so busy with this, with the YouTube channel and everything like that. And I'm also taking 2 classes and working again. I'm sort of like, and I want to be able to walk and stuff like that. I haven't really been doing too much focus on it, but I do plan on it. Because confidence are growing. Ever since I went into carnivore, my confidence is a lot better now. There was a time I could not even be on camera, let alone talking to you right now.
Yeah.
And the other half of it, on the Christmas before, I had I went and the first channel I actually started communicating on was actually Carrie Mann, and he was actually the first person I actually contacted even before that, but I don't count that. Um, I actually we actually had at my brother-in-law's mother's house, we actually had prime rib as the dinner for Christmas.
Mm.
So when I thought of my name at Target Prime, I'm like, oh, it just kind of reminded me like, oh, prime rib. So Target Prime Rib is how it was created.
Wow. That is probably the coolest story that I've
Thank
ever heard for
you.
how somebody came up with their YouTube name. That
Thank
is
you.
great. And I hope that you get to finish that book too, because it sounds
I,
cool.
I plan on
And
it. It's on my. I don't like to say the bucket list anymore because I'm living now. So I like to call it like the excited that I'm living now list or something like that. Like live life to the fullest. Even if you have to slow, even if you have to go slow, or you're a little like wobbly when you're going on life, just still live life as much as you can. Do what you can. And like, unfortunately, like, I wanted to go. I was going to go to. I wanted to go to Hack Your Health in November. I don't know if you were going to that or not, but
Mm,
but there was a lot of people I wanted to meet and everything like that, and some people I've already met that's going there, and I'm okay with, but I just couldn't afford it. It was too soon, and so I'm planning on, I'm going to do my best to save and go next year. You know, or actually, someone was asking me to, if I could maybe to go to Meat Stock,
mm,
which is a little closer, but I don't know. You know,
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
cheap.
yeah. They definitely aren't.
I
Uh,
live in New Jersey, so it's not like I live like right next door to it.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, the only one I've been to
Um,
so far is Boston. So,
okay. Was that Dr. Kilt's Boston meetup?
Dr. Kiltz and Carrie that hosted
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I met Carrie, met Adam, met Kiltz, met
Cool.
Nelson, and I actually
Yeah.
interviewed Nelson on my channel a few days ago. And I actually met Alia and a few others, quite a few others,
Mm,
and Lewis. I don't know if you know who Lewis is, but I think he's in the comments a lot.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, so
nice people.
I want to go back to something you mentioned about your confidence. That's something I hear from actually quite a few people that their confidence goes up with carnivore diet.
Hmm.
Um, Matter of fact, like, Rick Rodriguez, when I interviewed him, that was one of the first things he said. Like, he was not confident at all
Yeah.
in high school, or like, yeah, I guess it was high school.
Well, he's like
And
13, so yeah, like high school, like
yeah,
probably freshman
middle
year.
school, whatever it was. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like either
and,
later in
and
middle school or freshman year.
yeah. And he after he went to carnivore, like it totally changed his life with the confidence thing. So that's like a big thing that I think I hear a lot, but people don't really talk about that so much like they talk a lot about the weight loss, um, and different health issues like diabetes and whatever else there is out there, back pain, all kinds of different things, right? But you don't hear very many people talk about that. And that is a big thing. It seems like people do get confidence. I think I've seen it with myself too. Uh, I've I've always been somebody that was a little bit easier to talk because of the type of role I have at work, but the confidence thing definitely is a big thing. Um, so let me ask you this: if you're seeing the confidence, I'm assuming that this is probably a thing that you see as well, and that is just your mood in general. Like I know I experienced this, and a lot of people I talk to, they just seem so much happier since they've been on the carnivore diet. Do you kind of see that too?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. I mean, I do have my moments still. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say I'm like 100%, but um, I don't I don't like internally. I don't internalize things as much, if that
Mm,
makes sense. So if something bothers me, it bothers me. I might say something. I have different ways of coping with it. I was for a while there. I was going to a counselor. I mean, let's face facts. When you lose your toes, you need to talk to somebody about it.
mhm.
And now I see her maybe once every 3, 4 months. Just to
Okay.
kind of like shoot the breeze and stuff like that. Like, I have my roommate's actually really good, but he has some issues. So I sometimes have to talk and we just talk, but it's not like it used to be. Like, she's not carnivore, but she's like, you're 10 times better than you used to be. You figure out what's wrong, and you don't need to talk to me every time, you know, and, and everything. And, like, it's funny, like, even, like, when I get mad and I call her to set an appointment, by the time the appointment's hit, I'm like, "I don't think I really need her now. I think I'm fine," And, but yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you can call it I mean, there's carnivore confidence, carnivore calm, carnivore, and it's just like it's just you don't worry about things as much. You don't, it's just I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but you're right. Your confidence is a lot better than, like you sort of believe in yourself more. You believe
Mm,
that, you for the most part, you stand like when I first started, and I think this is almost anybody, when they first start carnivore, they're like, yeah, well, I tell my friends that I'm like sort of carnivore, or I tell my friends I'm on a modified diet. Now, there's certain people you do still do that with. I mean, you just don't want to hear it from your doctor or whatever. You just say you're like on the modified Mediterranean diet, which I agree with Dr. Kill. It's like, what is that? Like there's about like 20 different countries in the Mediterranean. In each country eats differently. So what is a Mediterranean diet?
right.
But that most doctors like, okay, that's fine. And they just put in their chart. That's it. What they put in their chart, I don't know, but they put something in their chart. And but now I can go to my doctor. I go to my family. They all know I'm carnivore. They know that, I'm like, I go to the doctor, I'm like, I'm carnivore, I have a channel, and I'm not going to mess it up, you know? And sometimes I do fall off, sometimes I do cheat. And I hate to say the word cheat, and I hate to say the word fall off because guess what? If I eat that one cookie that I had to lower my blood sugar, I'm back on carnivore right after.
Mm,
So, how much cheating is that? It's not going to do anything. It's not gonna all of a sudden be like, "Oh my god, your sugars are going up to like 900," and, you're gonna lose like the other you're gonna lose your whole foot instead of just your toes and because of one cookie, I'm gonna lose, but the thing is we were taught like kind of like what's that one of the seven deadly sins, gluttony? Yeah, I guess
mm,
it would be gluttony. Like we're taught like don't do gluttony. And yet we have all this addiction that's all out there with all the foods and
yeah.
stuff like that. It's everywhere. I work at a convenience store, and I'd say maybe if I'm lucky, 10% of what's in the store is what I can eat.
Mm,
And I don't even think I can really do that. That's just like if I just go with the fact that it's cheese or if it's milk. But then when I look at it, it's like, okay, there's sugar added to this, or there's soy, or there's vegetable oil, or there's this. Like there's a cheese that I used to love, and I don't eat it anymore because it actually has vegetable oil to give it yellow coloring.
yeah.
Like like. So, like, if I'm lucky, like I said, 10%, but most likely it's more like 5, But, um, and like I'll drink the coffee at work, but unfortunately I had to put regular half and half with it because it's not very good, you know. But it's $1, so, because you get the employee discount, so, but
Mm. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. Um, what what is your main goal with your channel, and what are the types of videos that you like to put out and so forth?
okay. Well, my thing that I like to do, and sometimes I get disappointed with it, is I like to do my lives. I just like you're doing with me right now. I like having people on my channel and letting them tell their story. Um, I'm probably going to change the premise a little bit, but right now I have it where I set the time for just a little under 2 hours, and I allow you to talk, and you can take as much time as you want. I had one guy, I was able to do more than 2 hours for a few of them, and I had one guy that took 3 hours and 29 minutes to tell a story.
Wow.
Now, meanwhile, he's telling me, like, I have not much to tell. I don't have much to tell. I don't have much to, I have nothing to tell. Well, you told 3 hours and 29 minutes worth. So you must have had something to tell. Okay. And that's great. He's like one of my favorite ones because he helped out a lot. And I've done big people, I've done little people. I've interviewed Carrie Mann, I've interviewed Dave Mack, I've interviewed. Soon I'll be interviewing you in like next week, I think it is.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know if we said a date. I think I'm interviewing Johnny too, but I haven't set a date for him. I don't know if I set a date
mm,
for him or not. So um, I have bookings up until like beginning of March. So and then I'm also interviewing on my carniversary. I'm interviewing Jen Mann
mm.
now because I don't know if who that is or not, but that's Carrie
Yeah.
Mann's wife. Yeah,
Carrie's. Yeah.
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 Um, I do some videos. I do some shorts. I'm not really. I do them, and I do some good ones. I'm not saying that they're all bad. I just prefer the lives. I prefer the interaction. You know.
Mm,
And I actually
yeah.
get very disappointed when I do a live and no one comes on, like no one wants to come on, or like ends up being short. Like the other day, I did one for 10 minutes, and it was a little disappointing, because I forgot that
Mm,
another show was on and everybody was watching that, which is it happens, you know.
yeah.
So I just ended it, and then I went on to that other show and said hello. But I just, it's my fault because I forgot that that was on. It's on every Sunday. So I was going to do like a live every
Mm,
day while I was here at my sister's house because she does have a lot of temptations here. So it was like sort of to keep me in check, I guess you could say,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Accountable.
yeah, pretty much. But I've had a few people come on, like because I do what's called a round table, sometimes, which is again showing my confidence because I'm like the quiet man, you know.
Mm,
And when I first started it, I got very upset because people would talk and they would forget that I was even there. And when you're the host, that's not a good feeling to have, you know. But now I just kind of like go with, and I just kind of like, I just told people already, like, like respect everybody, including the host, and just know that you're not the only one there, that there's other people that's trying to talk to, because people just get very overzealous, and I'm sure you've
mm,
seen that before. They just have to kind of like bulldoze their way into everything, you know
yeah.
but yeah. um but that's my favorite part of doing is really the lives. I do like doing the videos. I get a lot of compliments on those. A lot of my shorts have music to them because I try to keep them under the 1 minute, and YouTube won't let you put music to it or give you the proper music. I don't know if you've ever seen YouTube music when you do a long video. It's horrible.
Mm,
But
yeah.
the short music, it's actually regular songs that's out, like, and you could do like Billy
Okay.
Joel, you could do like all these, and you just do that. I do it through InShot, and I just record and I put it onto, and then you have to do all this like rigmarole and everything, but I get it through. And in the video, the shorts, I'll actually also copy over to Instagram and to TikTok, and sometimes I use the same music, sometimes I use something different. Just kind of give it a
Mm,
little splash. You know, I did this one funny video that I don't know if you saw it or not, but I think it came out already. It's called Speed, and it's the dog. The dog's like running around the yard, like, and I'm like collecting eggs for the chicken, from the chicken. My sister actually has chickens, by the way.
okay.
So I'm collecting eggs, and the dog's running
Mm,
around. So I'm recording the dog running around, recording myself going to the chicken coop and everything. And the video ended up being about like three minutes, and I sped it up to less than a minute. The whole thing, like I sped it like really fast, so it's like going like, you know. And so I,
yeah.
I played the song Speed Racer um, while playing that video. I think I got about 800 views or something like that. So
Hmm,
be nice if it had like it only had about 15 likes, but I'm getting there. I just recently got myself to 516, actually with your help, the other day when you guys,
mm,
I ended up getting about, it went to 519 and then went down three. So because that happens all the time, you get some,
yeah.
you lose a couple, and but I'm over 500 now, so I am now able to get super chats and all that fun
Mm,
stuff.
okay. Cool.
And I can also, and I started a membership that anybody can join. I did like $1.99 for the first part, and then like $3.99 for the second tier.
Mm,
And I call the first, and if people join in, that's great. But I don't have any idea what I want to do yet with that, you know. But I figure why not, you know. And um, the first tier is called Little Riblets, and the second tier is called the Mighty Riblets. I think I have to look it up and see. But and that's Riblets is what people are called that are subscribed to my channel. So
mm.
anybody that's subscribed, like if you're subscribed, you're a Riblet.
Okay.
Um, and that name actually came from Erin Booby Goats. She actually is the one who thought of that name.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So in the description and down in the comments below, I will have a link to your YouTube's channel, which is Target Prime Rib.
Yes.
Um, and it's probably going to be flashing on the screen here too, because I'll probably edit that in.
Oh,
So,
okay. I was
so
looking
anybody can
for it.
go.
I couldn't find
Yeah, it's not right now, but
it.
I'll edit that in. So, anybody that wants to can go check out your channel. Um, so Thomas, let's finish up with so you're let's see, you're like actually about 11 months now, right? No, 10 months. What was
Yeah, I'm
January
so
1st?
bad
So
at
yeah,
math.
that'll be
I just know that it will be 1 year
just
in
over 10 months. Yeah. So you're
yeah.
just over 10 months now on the carnivore diet. Um, so if you could take a couple minutes or whatever you want to take, just eh, what would be your plead, I guess, to someone, not necessarily plead, but what would be your stance to somebody if they came to you and they said, I'm thinking about the carnivore diet, but I just don't know. How would you respond to that? What would you tell them for
That's hard.
looking at
That's
doing it?
hard. Because everybody's different, and I the first thing I believe is, um, I the first question I would ask is, well, why are you thinking about doing carnivore? Like what is it that you're thinking of doing? Because I'm a firm believer that if you're doing it for just weight loss, you need more than you need another reason. And I'll try to like sort of like get them to admit like, okay, well, I have these issues. I have this. I have okay. Or somebody is like, like getting older and they're like, well, I want to be there at my daughter's wedding, or I want to, to me, those are bigger whys than just wanting to lose weight, because you might be disappointed. Carnivore is going to help you lose weight, but it might not be right away,
Mm,
and my mom, actually, we did keto for a while, and she had metastatic breast cancer. She got really, really bad. It actually went to her bones, deteriorated everything. She lost a lot of weight and everything like that towards the end. But when we went keto, she was about 159, 160 pounds. Okay. And she did the keto. I did the keto. I just was trying to be better. So I did it. It was helping me. Again, going on and off because of the hospitals and everything like that. But, or even just visiting my family. But she was actually doing really well when it came to like she was actually going off the walker, not using it as much, using just a cane. She was able to walk up and down the stairs without feeling like she's going to fall. She was doing a lot of improvement, okay? But she wasn't losing any weight. So because her why was to lose weight, she actually gave up on it.
mm,
She's like, "This isn't for me. This is not working." I said, "What are you talking about? It's working wonderfully." But I couldn't no one could convince her, and it didn't help to have there was a couple people that were trying to get her off it anyway, so it didn't really help to have that either. Um, if you are really wanting to do it and you really I would suggest I don't think 30 days is enough. I don't think you're really going to find too much. You might find some small things out. And if those small things get you to be like, hey, I think I'm going to go longer, then great. But I think you should commit to 90 days. I really do. I think that that is going to be the marker that's going to tell you what you need to do. Do strict carnivore for 90 days. You don't have to do I do not recommend you do lion diet. Don't go that strict. Go carnivore in its easiest sense, you know? Like Mark Hay says, 70% of, carnivore is 70% animal products and 30% of the whole like the whole fruit, the whole vegetables and stuff like that. I would do less than that, but that's just me, okay? If doing 30% and you keeping your avocado or you keeping, a small thing of broccoli or whatever in your diet, then fine. If that makes you feel better, I do fermented vegetables occasionally. I actually got some really good deli pickles from a local deli, along with some deli meat and stuff like that. Not deli meat, but it's more of like it has like actual meats and stuff like that. So there's like hamburgers, like a butcher in there too. So I actually got some like different cuts of burgers and stuff like that. And I just basically that's my recommendation. Just give it 90 days, see how you feel, because no, you can't make anybody do anything, and all we can do is suggest. All we can do is say like I have a roommate that he's not feeling very well, and I doubt he'll see this video because he doesn't really watch these things.
Mm.
But he has Parkinson's, he has diabetes, he has all this stuff. And he's still in that mindset that the doctor's always right. If the doctor tells me to take a statin, I'm taking a statin. I'm not even going to question, and everything. Like he even said to me the other day, he goes, "I listen to my doctor." Well, so do I, but if my doctor's wrong, I actually listen to my doctor in the way that I can correct my doctor and say, "No, I don't agree with that, and I'm not taking it." So I am listening to my doctor. I'm listening enough to know if he's wrong or right, or if I feel he's wrong or right. But if you're just blindly, you're not really listening to your doctor. You're just kind of just like doing whatever's written and you just do the medicine that he tells you to take, and you don't even ask questions. Like he has like 12 different medications he takes because all the doctors are just piling them on him. And it's sort of a sad thing because I tried cooking for him and everything, and he's just, but the thing is, not everybody's going to no, not everybody. I mean, he sees everything going on with me. He sees how much I'm improving. He lived with me the whole time. He lived with me the whole time when I first started carnivore and started the channel and everything. And he's like, "You're doing very well. You should be proud." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." But then I'm thinking in my head, like, "Well, why aren't you looking at it, and why aren't you thinking of doing this?" But not everybody does.
Yeah.
So if you really are serious, commit for 90 days to regular carnivore. And if you like it and you want to do more and you want to go stricter, that's up to you. I also think too, joining some kind of community would be a good idea. All right.
Yeah.
And even if you join the communities they're usually about $30 a month to join one of the communities, like Bella, Steak and Butter Gang, um, Gary Man. I'm part of all three. Part of that one. I'm part of Kilts. And Kilts is the basic line is free. So if it's a money issue, then I would suggest Kilts. But if you really think about it, all right, Carrie Man and Bella, okay, they're $30 a month. That's $1 a day. Okay. Unless you work for where I work and you're actually working there, that's not even enough to pay for coffee.
Mm.
A
Right.
12-ounce cup of coffee is usually about $2, $3 now. And I think it's not a bad price to pay. Now if there's extra stuff, then even Kilts has two other tiers that are a little bit more. But if you can afford it, but to do at least one like membership, like group, you know, because in that way you can talk to them, you can get some advice, like I'm getting help from SBG right now and from Kilts. Technically I've already passed. I'm just doing it again, sort of a second class. I guess kind of help the new students, but I actually got my coaching course from Dr. Kilts.
Mm.
So I did that. A bunch of us have, and so technically, I guess I could put Coach Thomas Pruitt on the front of my thing because I am certified. I do have a certification. So I just don't really because I just don't really want to make any money off it. To tell you the truth, I just wanted to have it in my back pocket. Maybe someday I'll do that, but right now I'm not like comfortable with going with all the like all that stuff.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, if somebody asks me for my advice, I tell them that start off. I had a kid today. I'm like okay, like I would watch some of the channels, watch Dr. Barry, watch and everything. So it depends. It depends on where the person's at. Depends on how serious they seem to be. All you can do is just give them a little information and hope and pray they see some experiences.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all you can
All
do.
right. Well,
I
thank
hope
you,
that wasn't
Thomas.
too
This has been a
long-winded.
great conversation. Was that?
I said I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
Oh no, no, it's good. This has been a great conversation. So thank you for joining me here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
And again, his channel is going to be down in the description and in the comments. And you should be able to check out any of his videos. Like he said, he goes live a lot. You can always watch the lives on replay too if you miss them, or you can see them live and
Please.
you know get in the community and communicate with other people and so forth. All right, thank you.
Thank you.